2026 City of Ellsworth Planning Board. And let's talk about introductions.
Lisa LaRue, Planning Board member.
Good evening, my name is Tim Pease, City Attorney, assisting the Planning Board this evening.
Rick Lyles, I'm the vice chairman, but the actual chairman is not here, so I'm the acting chairperson, so go easy.
I'm Mike Haney, board member.
Mark Levine, alternate.
Matt Utier, alternate.
Okay, so we do have a quorum, so the meeting is official. First order of business is adoption of minutes from June 3rd, 2026. And we also have minutes, and this is in addition to the agenda, for Wednesday, June 5th, 2025. So can I have a motion or questions about the minutes from June 5th, 2025?
Make a motion to accept.
I'll second it.
Comments, questions, criticisms, witticisms? Okay, all in favor? Those are approved. And now for the minutes from the June 3rd, 2026 meeting. Same idea, minutes are here. See, but when I don't make the motions, they don't get made. What's going on
Well, I
here?
didn't know if you had any comments. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
I'll second it.
And any questions or comments on the June 3rd, 2026 minutes? Hearing none, all in favor? Okay, unanimous, and that takes care of that. And next up, we have the preliminary plan review of a major use site development plan entitled Anchor Inn Campground for applicant and owner Superior Realty, Inc. And do we have people from that august group with us?
Steve Salisbury, here in Salisbury.
And,
Rick Newman.
and you are the guy?
The owner.
He's the owner, okay, that's nice to have you here. So, let me just start with a couple of comments. Obviously, there's quite a bit of interest in this particular development. One of the things that we'll be talking about as we go through here is whether or not we actually need to do a site visit, which the board can call for. We also have one resident on Zoom, and I think, do we have another engineer on Zoom, or is he for the other project?
He's over the other project,
Okay.
and the other resident has,
And you have, I'm sorry,
the other resident is not on yet.
okay, all right. You have a handout, which is new tonight, okay, talking about what the planning board can and cannot do. And, you know, there's a list of can and can'ts, okay? And sometimes we have proposals for projects that we may, you know, like, gee, I don't really like that one, but, you know, that's not what we do here, okay? We look at the ordinance, we look at the plan, we see whether or not the plan development meets the ordinances, and then that's kind of it. I would just, this is just my personal information. Has there been any contact between the owners and you and the community at all?
No, I reached out to 7 direct abutters with a letter on February 11th, and
Okay.
I didn't receive any responses. Which is extraordinary, I don't usually do that, but I felt, well, this is a new project and a.
Okay,
true
so you reached out,
residential,
but to no avail?
to no avail. and
Okay,
Certainly, we've got
Um,
some response now.
just wanted to know.
But
Okay.
the 7 closest neighbors chose not to contact me.
Okay, and those are probably the original 7 from the abutters list? Okay. Maybe, right, true enough. And this is the first meeting on this project, and there will be at least one other meeting. Okay, this is the preliminary meeting, and then there's the final meeting. Routinely, what happens is we have a discussion tonight about what they're proposing. They tell us, we ask questions, we take in comments and so forth, and then we make a decision in terms of completeness. And what completeness really means is, has the developer really hit all the high points that we asked them to address? Sometimes those are really strong, it's like, okay, fine, they really did that. Sometimes we might have other questions or whatever, and those things have to be spiffed up, so to speak, or more detail for the final. So anyway, so this is the first meeting, and typically the second meeting is about a month from now, but that depends on how this all goes, okay? And if we have trouble navigating that, we have our very own lawyer here to help us navigate. And I see that someone has just arrived. And your name for the record?
Oh, my name for the record is Vince Messer, and I'm a planning council member.
Okay, so, and we're gonna start now. Are you gonna recuse yourself? and
Yes.
Sit there, or are you gonna sit over here?
I'm sitting out there. I am recusing myself due to the fact that my daughter is one of the abutters, and so I am not going to participate in this portion, but I may speak as a resident.
Can I go with you?
Whoa, okay, I didn't know that. That's a surprise. So, okay, it's all yours to explain what's being proposed here.
Sure, thank you. So again, Steve Salisbury with Herrick Salisbury. We've been trying to plan a development here for Rick over the last year. It took some time. We did the wetlands analysis, the soils analysis, worked with Rick on the layout and such as that. So we arrived at a 28 site RV campground. And this kind of a campground will have the expectations the campers will have their own independent water, sewer, electric hookups. So they'll be fully self-contained, self-sustaining type of living units. Some of the sites we drive in, if that matters to you, some will be back in. The drive-in ones are popular for the 40, 45-foot motorhomes. But anyway, we've had a stormwater analysis done, which is in your packet, showing a couple treatment beds for the stormwater, which will be on the edges of the development. It'll be a single entrance off the Bayside Road, two-way entrance that was just recently approved by the Maine Department of Transportation. There's good site visibility there. Of all the places on the Bayside Road, that's one of the better. You can see 800 to 1,000 feet in either direction. So give the owners of those recreation vehicles plenty of opportunity to observe traffic and pull out safely or pull in safely. Backing up to the history of this neighborhood, our company, I had the privilege of knowing Robert Ray for 40 years, and we worked with him extensively. Mr. Ray developed the Altons Avenue housing development. It's called Seavey's Woodlot, and that was developed through 6 different phases, which your board approved over time. And I remember back when the first development was done in 1990, there was a lot of controversy from the people that lived on the Bayside Road at that point in time. So much so that we actually took the first group of lots that ended up being 16 lots, and they're in yellow. Bayside Road being over here, we moved that development a quarter mile off the Bayside Road just to appease some of the neighbors. Later on, we backfilled and developed that land between the first phase and the Bayside Road, but they were so worked up down there that we said, all right, we'll just move it back. We got a mile of land to develop, so Mr. Ray took the position, I will build that quarter mile of road with no immediate benefit before I even get to my first house, and that kind of sold the project. I don't intend to do anything like that with this project. These 28 sites are going to be close to the Bayside Road. Rick owns 50 more acres of land or something like that up back. What he might do up there in the future, we don't know. The 28 is what's in front of you. That's about all I have to say.
Okay. Do we want to get comments from staff about some of this now, or after the board does their questions?
Thank you. however we normally do it. You guys
Well, I
usually-
was trying to figure that out, but I didn't.
Usually you guys go right.
Yeah, that's
for
what
it.
you're saying. Okay, so what happens now is that we have questions from the planning board, and, you know, sometimes a back and forth with, you know, Q&A right here. Sometimes it's like, oh, yeah, I'll have to check on that or whatever. And then there's some staff comments. And then there is a chance for a public hearing, which is your chance to say whatever it is you need to say, okay? So, comments, criticisms. I normally go first, but I won't here because I got the gavel.
Did you want me to go first? That way you're looking at me?
Yeah.
Sure, okay. Thank you for being here. Have you had any communications with the power company and the ability to serve all lots? And what kind of improvements are you needing to get electric to the site?
There's electricity on the street.
Is it sufficient? You need transformers, step downs?
Yeah, we're gonna go with underground power, so we'll come in a pole and then drop under power and probably we haven't done an electrical design, but, with 28 sites, I would expect at least 2 transformers mounted on a cement pedestal and things like that, with branch distributions from there.
Be good to get that on the plans where those transformers are going. I'm seeing wetland impacts for grading on lots 7, 15, 17, and 19. Has that been cleared with, is that Army Corps that would do wetland jurisdiction?
It's they have a threshold, so you
Okay.
can impact certain types of wetlands. These are forested wetlands, not of significance. We can impact 4,000 square feet before we need to obtain any type of permit on this type of wetland. So
Yeah, it's
under
very,
that,
very minor, so,
There are
okay.
minor impacts, not needing permits.
Okay. How are you getting water to the filter beds? I'm seeing some storm drain lines along the road, but then nothing connecting to the filter beds.
No, just gravity drain.
The
sheet
gravity
flow
drains?
will go into those filter beds and then disperse through the bed and out a discharge pipe,
So your sheet flowing then?
back to sheet flow once
Okay.
it comes out the pipe.
I'm seeing flow labels on here, but no flow arrows on your site and utility plan.
Yeah, we're gonna upgrade that the next time through.
Other thing I'm seeing is a setback line label, but no actual setbacks on there. Just so we would know what a typical setback looks like and how far you are away from that.
Guess what sheet are you looking at?
I'm looking at S1.
Okay, I see setback lines and labeling. 25-foot setback lines on the top and the bottom.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm
the
seeing,
red
I'm
dashed
seeing
lines.
property lines, but I'm
Nope.
not seeing setback
Well,
lines.
Just inside of the property lines is 2 25-foot setback
Am I
lines.
crazy? Property line, but no setback line, right?
It says there 25 foot.
Yeah, I see property line, but I don't see setback
No,
line.
this is the note, there's an actual line.
And that's S1, maybe,
And that's the one I
See
was
it?
given, if you wanna look at that one.
I don't know if they have the
maybe there's
prints.
another one.
Where's your copy?
Ah, this is the digital copy.
Is this showing your copy?
Yeah, 'cause
It's just right.
Yeah.
I promised it on it.
I've had my eyes checked in the last year, so.
That's interesting.
By someone competent?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I know transitions, so. I'm that old.
2020, it's the same thing. I didn't change it, it came digitally from them. Huh, well, we have it on some copies.
Okay.
And by some other time, it'll be on all copies.
Okay.
Hopefully
next
be on
time
the
all
next one,
copies.
too.
And then I noticed for the storm, you're seeking the linear exemption, for the treatment areas for your road.
For the roads,
They're in a
yes.
non-urban impacted stream and watershed, so I don't have an issue with that as being the stormwater guy on the board for that, treating 75% instead of the 95%.
Yeah, that's the standard.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I missed where that started. with the.
In the packet,
storm-
they were looking for an exemption on, according to Rule 500, or Chapter 500,
Okay.
Main DEP manual, a linear portion of the project, such as a road, utility corridor. Normally, you would treat 95% of it, but if it's if it's not in an urban impacted stream or body of water, you can reduce that to 75% treatment.
Okay. So you're good,
I'm fine with that.
okay. Else?
No?
Anything else down here?
Well, I mean, we're looking at the package here, and we're saying missing the letter of financial capacity. You can have it for the next
Yeah,
time?
I have it in my possession, we'll supply it at the next meeting.
Okay, we're missing the seal and the name, address, and registration number. You're gonna have all that for
Yep.
next time? The arrows, obviously, you're gonna put that in. Do I go through every one of these, or? you just
Oh, I'm
gonna have
aware
them?
of the,
You're aware of what we're
after
missing?
the staff meeting.
Oh. So we're gonna need all this for the next time?
Yeah.
Oh, where are we at on the groundwater supply evidence and quality?
All we have right now is the existing well. We're actually gonna probably do 2 wells, so neither well will supply more than 2,000 gallons per day. And I'm probably gonna update my packet to reflect that at the next meeting.
Has that been started or still?
We're not
looking
gonna
to start?
drill wells until we get approval and start building the project out.
Okay.
Okay, so you will, go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to confirm that the digital packet does have the setback lines,
Okay.
so we'll look at that.
Okay.
And you have a statement from a civil engineer or whoever drills wells or
Yes.
whatever, in terms of having enough capacity to service your development and not adversely impact the people in Alton. Is that,
Yes, yep.
and we have that, or we're getting?
We'll
that?
get that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. You're up.
So Steve, on page 35, Jim Kaiser's letter concerning stormwater management, he states that the long-term maintenance plan is the responsibility of the project's owner. Will you be including that here shortly or within the final? Because I don't see a long-term plan.
Well, I get that from Jim. There's a standard, like a little checklist you go through every year and check the culverts and check the,
Yep.
check the media in the ponds, make sure it's still draining through there like that.
Is that something you can involve, we can have next time?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
That's all I got right now.
Okay, so, do you have anything?
I do.
Okay, hit it.
And first of all, in the discussion about the wells, you said you weren't going to drill a second well until approval, if I understood you correctly.
That's right, yeah.
So, if you get approval and you drill the well and it doesn't meet standards, then what?
I have full expectation we can drill a well that'll satisfy the demands of the camping facility.
Okay. And,
We'd only need a couple gallons a minute, because the demands from an RV aren't such as a house.
right,
The 75 gallons a day is the design flow for an RV with full hookups, so.
okay. And I assume that
I'm
these,
sorry, just one second. So that's something that's checked with code down the line, right?
Correct.
Sorry.
that's okay, sir. You're the boss. I assume that these are not nomadic, if I will say, can say it that way, residents. These are expected to be, the trailers and so on will be permanent. It's not a campground, in other words.
Oh, no, it certainly is a campground. They could stay the season, or they could stay a night or two and leave.
Okay.
Is the expectation that there will be people staying there all season? No, like, so for example, I can imagine seasonal workers from the island staying there. Is that,
Absolutely, if they're willing to pay, then Rick can correct me if I'm wrong.
A lot of the campgrounds have people living there that are local people who Airbnb their houses out. I expect maybe 15% of the occupancy to be that type of,
So
person.
that they're
The
actually
rest of them will
residents,
be
local
tours.
residents who are doing this?
That's right.
Okay, I see.
So it is, the word I used a moment ago is, it's nomadic. People can come and
Tours,
go and so on and
yes.
so forth.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And the thing that concerned me, didn't realize it until tonight, is that you talked about the quarter mile offset at the beginning of the first, first phase.
Yeah, when we developed Seavy's Woodlot, we set back off the road a quarter mile.
And then you moved back closer to the road.
Yes.
At a later time.
Yes.
And how does that compare to what you're proposing for this particular section of the project?
Well, this one, we're gonna start at the road, keep the development as close to the Bayside Road as we can.
Okay. So movement then, at a later time, is not part of the game here.
No, if there's anything later in the future, it's gotta be
Other property.
further to the east
Mhm.
on the remaining land.
Okay.
You good?
So Steve, on the report, the checklist report, it indicates about exterior lighting narrative, needing a lighting plan, or note where the lights are on the utility plan, noting that probably, I can assume, that most of your lights are central to the RV park and not along the outside edges, correct?
Just a couple lamps
Yeah.
on the building, the
Can you-
office building and bathroom.
Yep. Can you show those next time as to where they are so that we have that?
We will.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked about that. TRT.
Kind of a mini lighting plan?
Yep.
Okay.
I show the cut fixture, but I'll show exactly where they're gonna be.
Yep.
Right, I saw
That would be good.
Okay. You good?
And I'll
Okay.
show the contour where the 0.1 foot candle is.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
The total electric.
Okay, so I have a bunch of questions. Some of these questions have actually been triggered by some of the written comments that we got from some people who live in the neighborhood, and some are just me, okay? So I wanted to ask whether or not you had any experience with similar RV facilities. I mean, have you know,
I've permitted 6 RV facilities in the last 15 years.
okay,
They're all the same eventually. You might have a
pretty much.
different. I mean, their character develops a little differently. Some are more seasonal, where the people stay the whole summer.
Mhm.
There's more heavy in that, and then some are more in and out every day.
But you're not gonna have any kind of restrictions in terms of, half of the sites are for this kind of use and
No.
half are for that. It's just whoever gets there and does it, right?
Usually have a fee schedule. Okay, you're gonna spend a week, it's this much money. If you wanna spend the whole summer, it's this much money. and
Sure, and you sign in and there you go.
There you go.
Okay. So I have several questions about different things here. One is the buffer between the proposed development and existing houses on Alton, because I think that's at root some of the issues that are coming up over here.
Yes,
And my question was, how far back from how far from the back of their properties and the back of houses to the closest RV site? In other words, how much space is there between the existing houses on Alton and the RV sites? And how does that compare to the setbacks and separations that you might not otherwise have in a residential development?
our units will be no closer than 75 feet to the boundary line with the Alton Avenue development, and
That's the back property line.
that's right. So you got 75 feet there.
I had 70, but that's okay.
And Mr. Ray was very efficient with his developments, and he put the houses, reasonably close to the road.
So there is additional buffer between the backs of the houses that are on Alton and that back property line?
Generally, yes.
Okay. Do we have any sense of what those are like?
Well,
Apparently not. That's fine. What is in the buffer area
those
now?
lots are, well, to answer your question,
Aha, see, yeah, stuff.
those lots are 240 feet deep.
The lots are 240 feet deep?
Deep, from the edge of the road to the back boundary line.
Okay.
So, you know, if they develop that first 100 feet, there's 100+ feet in the back of those lots. Some of them are open, some of them have got trampolines and swimming pools and stuff like that in the
Okay.
back dooryards, but there's some buffer there.
What is in the buffer area?
Trees and brush and some wetlands.
Okay, and so that's between the RV sites and the
Alton's
back.
Avenue.
Okay, and the property lines.
Mhm.
Can any, I assume the answer is no, but can any of those wetlands be developed at all?
Not without some substantial permitting.
Okay,
Question.
go ahead.
Can you traverse through that wetland pretty easily?
Yeah, it's not, you know, it's not wet up to your knees or anything like that type of wetlands.
Okay.
And what, and I probably should know this, but I don't.
Oh, yeah.
What is the topography like between the Alton Avenue and the RV development?
I'm sorry?
What is the topography? What's the difference in elevation?
Not
If
much.
Not
It's pretty
much.
consistent.
So
The hill goes.
whichever direction that's going is
The
flat.
grade
so-
goes from west to east. The further east you go, the higher the land, and it's the same way on Alton's Avenue.
Okay. I saw on some drawing that, and I think it was one of those ones that was dated from like years past maybe, I'm not sure, that there was a wire fence along the boundary. Is that still there or?
It's probably mostly gone now.
Okay, all right. Is there any intention to putting in any kind of fencing or any kind of berm or trees or, I mean, more trees in that buffer area at this point?
Our plan right now is just to leave it as it is.
Okay.
Which satisfies the ordinance.
I'm sorry?
Which satisfies the ordinance.
No, I get that, what about potential expansion? You know, this development is at the one end of the, one end of that, what is it, 40 acres or something? Okay, that's, they're giving me numbers from the audience here, so you're helping, right? Okay, thank you. What about expansion? It strikes me that the wetlands basically have a strong circumference around the RV site, you know, and that it would be, in my view, would be difficult to, you know, develop on up, you know, back further. Is that accurate, or is there a plan, or what?
We have no plans, is potential there, I'll say. But it's gonna require a substantial amount of permitting first.
Okay,
Because we're gonna go over our 3 acres of impervious. So we'll get a site location development act permit.
looks like the planners are getting ready to say something.
I was just gonna remind you that our purview is this project only,
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
future
well,
audit.
and you know how I feel about aggregate versus disaggregate views of development. You know, planning is about what happens in the future, so that's just my own personal.
I'm just
Absolutely.
letting you know, planning board.
Thank you
purview
so
is
much.
focused-
Rick? Rick would like to ask a question.
Question for you. There's no plan for expansion unless the city comes down there with city sewer. You come down with city sewer, then I would consider.
No, my sewers.
No, but I'm saying.
But we know the monkeys.
Okay, all right, thank you. What would have to be the case for the developer of, if there was expansion, what triggers coming back to the planning board? I mean, if they put in like 3 more sites, my guess is they can just do 3 more sites with, you know, something.
So I guess we'd have to come back here.
There's a
Sewer
couple
system
more.
allowed.
But, well, is there a trigger point though?
So it's treated as a new project, as long as, you know, if they split it into lots, it would come back to planning board. And if it triggers the major use site development criteria, it would come back to planning board.
Okay, so potential expansion would probably have to come back to the planning board, but not, certainly it might be size dependent. Is that fair?
The only viable use I could think of that we wouldn't need to come back to you folks would be is 4 living units as of today, or 3 living units under the new housing law.
Okay, okay. Okay, you already answered that. Say again.
I say we can come back for 3 housing units under the new housing law.
The state mandated a change in local ordinances about how many dwelling units could go on a particular site and so forth. And that was a kind of a relaxation, actually, of how many units could go on a site and that sort of thing. So that's the context for what he's talking about, I think, right?
Yes.
Okay, traffic and trip generation, my favorite area. But so the driveway, you're smiling, right? Not for long.
I didn't, I expected some traffic questions.
Okay, we understand each other.
Yes.
Okay, so the driveway, can the driveway as designed, and I am remiss in this fact that I did not check that, okay? Can it accommodate larger vehicles with a vehicle in tow under the current design? So for example, when you look at the entrance and the radiuses and, you know, how wide it needs to be and so forth, are you using some template that shows a large RV, you know, towing a?
Yes, that's, we asked the DOT for 24-foot wide travel surface and appropriate radiuses.
And they're good with that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I own a 42-foot fifth wheel RV, and I'm confident I could get in there with my eyes closed.
Okay then.
Oh, yeah, we'll have to check.
So we're gonna station you down at the gate and let you do that.
Yeah, that's right.
It's kinda like having a pilot in Bar Harbor, right?
This is your test.
I can get in there.
Okay, does the state, the state, whatever standards they had, they enforced them because they knew what they
we
were
gonna do.
getting into, yeah.
Yes, they knew what to do.
Okay. You indicate that there is no specific land use code for an RV park? That's wrong.
Who said that?
Somebody said that in one of these things here, okay?
Well, it's allowed use under our zoning
No,
ordinance.
no. I'm talking about the trip generation,
Oh, yeah, okay.
okay?
Yeah.
We're on the same page?
Yes.
Okay. You said that, well, you or whoever said that there was no code for trip generation for an RV campground type thing, only there is,
Okay,
okay? That said, I'm not sure that the numbers that you come up with would kill this, okay? But at the same time, I think that it really behooves you to do as good a job and as comprehensive a job, as much due diligence as you can. So you need to take a look at that and you know, really think that through a little more, because there is a land use code, and you can compare the trip generation characteristics of the RV, for example, to the trip generation characteristics of the Alton Road, Street, Avenue, whatever. You know, how that produces trips and so forth. So, and the only reason why you would do that is to give people who are looking at it some idea of the relative impact of having single-family units along a road versus the RV units. I think you'll find that it works out to your favor, but just saying. You can also,
And don't forget the Bayside Road is state road too.
right, I do know that.
So certain things are.
I do love them. You can also do counts at a similar RV site if that was necessary. Because the trip generation for single-family units is way better established than the trip generation rates for RVs.
Yeah.
You know, you have like a couple hundred studies that support models for single-family units, you know, a whole bunch of them or whatever, and you only have a few studies. But nonetheless, you should use what's available. If you think that's not enough, then there are plenty of places around you could actually do a quick count.
Yep.
Figure it out. Traffic safety, not surprising, is a concern of the neighborhood. So what I would ask about that is, what is the crash history of this stretch of Bayside, and are the crashes related to turning vehicles and that sort of thing? Which, you know, we can then talk about whether or not this is
I think the crash history on the Bayside Road is running into deer.
It may well be. Luckily, we'll know that when you look at the crash history.
Well, I've hit one already, so.
Well, okay, see, but you can get in a driveway though, right? So,
Oh, I can get in the driveway. I might have hit a deer on the way down, but
Okay. And you said that the site distance was fine, it was like 1,000 feet or whatever?
Yes.
And that's certainly enough for a slow, awkward RV versus, just a car turning, so. But again, you may want to really spell those a couple, spend a couple of sentences or a paragraph talking about that in the proposal.
understood.
Let's see, sewer system, we already covered that, I think. And stormwater water runoff, water supply. And you're gonna do something with the kind of a quasi lighting plan, just to show what is, what you have.
Yeah, I'll show the fixture
Although
locations.
there's not much of it.
No, but I will show the fixture locations and the
Okay.
foot candle contours.
Let me see here. And fire safety is okay with everything that's been proposed, which is a freestanding cistern of some size.
Underground system.
Yes.
Yeah, right, yeah. And you as another fire guy are happy with that?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Always had to double check. Let me see here. Talked about the adequacy of the wells. And the groundwater impact analysis, he had several qualifying statements in there.
Forthcoming.
And you're, okay. Emergency vehicle access is okay?
Yep.
Yep. Well, it's interesting to note that John Fink used to own this property. That's an inside joke because for many, many years, he was the chairman of the planning commission for like 30 years or something.
I believe his daughter lives next door.
To this, okay.
Yeah.
She okay with it?
My son-in-law.
There was a minor error on the driveway entrance permit. You asked for 30, it was gonna service 30 sites and it really only 28, but that's just typing.
Well, I think we might have cut it back a couple sites since I made that application.
Okay. Anybody else have anything else?
I'm good.
Staff have anything that we need to hear about or know about or
I think you
wring our
covered-
hands over?
I think you covered it very well.
Thank you. I like to have that positive
I
reinforcement.
would like to say before we open it up to public comment that we do have overflow upstairs. And I know that a number of people upstairs also want to comment, so when we open the floor up, if people could cycle out and go upstairs to let others come down. We're at capacity for the room right now.
Okay, did you hear what he said? So you're gonna lose your seats and you give them up to some other neighbor, right? So-
Anybody that would like to comment, please, when you're done, you can either go upstairs to watch or go home or whatever you want to do.
Fire is watching.
Okay.
Yes, so, and we'll send people downstairs who are currently upstairs. That's all.
And there was one more question from up here.
So Steve,
Oh, yes.
on the,
Excuse me, could you speak up because it's hard to hear you, you've got to start talking.
So-
It's hard to hear. Use your outside voice.
We call those the big dog voice.
So, can you hear me now?
Thank you.
So the question I have is, you have a potential future sign location on the
Yes.
site plan. Is that a lighted sign or a non-lighted sign? Do you know?
Like,
Okay.
Lighted sign,
All right,
in compliance with the ordinance.
okay. Thank you. That's all I needed to know.
Okay, so we're gonna open up the public hearing part in just a minute, okay? I know you're waiting for this. Let me just point out that we did get some written comments by email. I'm not gonna read those into the plan, that they were included in the packet. And they came from Wyatt Braun, Susan Rossi, Logan, Pereira, sorry, and Mary Veit, Veit, I guess. And so those are, and I also say that if you have other comments about this project, after tonight, it's okay to send those in via email or whatever as well. And there will be a public hearing for any subsequent meetings here. And we will also be talking a little bit about whether or not there should be a site visit, because the planning board can come out and do a site visits, and we just come out and walk the site or whatever. No decisions are made at that particular kind of visit. The entire planning board may or may not be there, as you all may or may not be there. In any event, what's that, sorry?
And site visits are open to the public, they get noticed, and a butter letter is also sent.
Okay, did you get that? Everybody gets a notice that if there's a site visit, y'all will know about it. I would ask that, I realize that there are a bazillion people out there, and you all want to be heard to keep this thing rolling along. I would hope that you would address things that have not already been addressed. So person number one comes up and says something about 5 different things. If you have something to add to that, that's fine. If you just want to recite the same 5 things over again, I don't want this to sound arrogant, but don't. And we'll all get out, we'll get everything covered. Everybody, really gets a chance to hear their objections or problems or whatever. Know that they'll be on our list of things that will be covered by the next version of this or whatever, okay? Any questions about the process? If people start to drag things out really a lot, we may have to start, kind of shorten, allowable time. So be terse. Okay. I know, I'm just keep going.
Speaking of tours.
Okay. Public hearing on this particular project is now open. So when you come up, there's someone here. It's going to be our model person. So you want to come up, you want to identify yourself, identify where you live, and rock and roll.
All right. Good evening. My name is Kelly Brackett. I have lived at 165 Alton Ave for 9 years. I hold in my hand a letter that I would like to submit to the board for the record. This letter, which opposes this campground, has been signed by 39 Alton Ave households and several of our Bayside neighbors who have joined in the opposition. It opposes the application and requests that the board deeply consider our concerns that we're going to bring up tonight. I know we have a lot of people in overflow, but for those who are here in the audience tonight, by show of hands, who opposes this proposal? Thank you. We're here because this proposal represents a major shift in land use and neighborhood character. We want to ensure that all impacts are fully considered before any preliminary approval is granted. This is not opposition to development in Ellsworth. We support growth and recognize the importance of tourism in our community. Many neighbors actually participate in vacation rentals and Airbnb of their homes. Our concern is whether this particular project, a high-density commercial transient use, is appropriate in our rural residential neighborhood. Residents of Alton Ave are prohibited by our covenants from operating public businesses on our properties, yet we may now be expected to absorb the impacts of a commercial operation directly behind our homes. First and foremost, state law requires land use and zoning decisions be consistent with comprehensive plans. Ellsworth adopted its comprehensive plan in 2025, and it provides a clear vision for how growth should occur. The plan prioritizes preserving rural character, open space, and natural areas. It supports low-density residential development in rural zones, protection of water, aquifers, and wetlands, balancing tourism with quality of life for residents, reducing traffic impacts, and ensuring that growth is intentional, appropriately located, and sustainable. We believe that this proposal is inconsistent with all of these points. If the current ordinances technically allow campground development in rural zones, the comprehensive plan establishes the broader policy that the proposal should be evaluated against. The fact that 58 abutter notices had to be sent out clearly demonstrates that this is not an appropriate location. If the applicant is interested in a campground business, there are more suitable locations within Ellsworth. For example, there's currently a 41-acre wooded property for sale on Beachland Road that's zoned urban and allows campgrounds. The property is surrounded by businesses and other large wooded lots and would likely have half the number of abutters than the Bayside Road location. It would also put campers more centrally located to amenities and place RV traffic on the Route 3 corridor that is more suitable for large vehicles. This project has been compared in the Bangor Daily News to the Forest Ridge, Branch Lake, and Patton Pond campgrounds in Ellsworth. But those comparisons overlook a very important distinction. None of these campgrounds directly abut a neighborhood in the way that this proposal does. They are buffered by extensive woods or have existed long enough that the surrounding property owners knowingly built homes nearby. I have satellite images of each of these 3 campgrounds to demonstrate that they are surrounded by woods or have very few neighboring residents. I would like to submit these to the board as well. Campgrounds are already not permitted in neighborhood zones, which raises broader questions like what defines a campground. The proposed design looks more like an RV parking lot than a secluded retreat for campers to reconnect with nature. And what defines a neighborhood? While currently zoned rural, we are a neighborhood of almost 50 homes with 1 to 2 acre lots. We receive mail at each home, have curbside trash collection, school bus pickup at our doors, and town-maintained roads. There are more homes on Alton Ave than there are in the Beachland neighborhood zone. Would the board, I ask the board now, you've been talking about a site visit, I'm asking you now, would the board be willing to conduct a site visit and compare the proposed site plan to the existing character of our surrounding neighborhood?
We're not gonna answer that question right away, but we're gonna talk about doing a site visit.
Okay. The Campground Ordinance, Chapter 56, Section 806, appears focused on protecting campground users, but does not provide equivalent protections for surrounding neighborhoods and residents. Phase 2 of ordinance revisions are underway to align local ordinances with the Ellsworth Comprehensive Plan, a process that the city has stated will involve public participation. Please do not allow this proposal to slip through the cracks during this intervening time, as we will have to endure the consequences of that. Unchecked preliminary approval today or even the next meeting will create long-term and potentially irreversible impacts for our area and would be a failure of this board and the city to protect its residents. On behalf of my neighbors, I respectfully ask the board to place a moratorium on this application and any other campground applications in rural zones until all relevant ordinances are aligned with the comprehensive plan.
I don't want to get in a whole lot of back and forth right here, right now. So we're really basically listening to what you all have to say, and, you know, and it kind of goes into the hopper, if you will. But I don't think it's up to us, for example, to have moratoriums on things like growth or.
Who is it up to?
Yeah, may I ask the
council.
lawyer if it's up to
The
you?
council, right?
Yes, it's
City council.
It is up to city council?
Yes.
Well, how do we get them to weigh in on this?
Well, you have to go talk to them, I guess. You know, there's opportunities at every council meeting for public input and this, that, and the other thing. You can also presumably write to city, I mean, correct me if I go wrong here, write to city council saying, you know, we would really like to have, you know, this as an agenda item on the you know, a council meeting and so forth. So, but your path there would be to talk to council. And, yeah.
The city charter spells out a way that citizens can initiate something like a moratorium ordinance, and like the chair said, you could always ask the city council to adopt them, such a moratorium themselves.
Yeah, and you may well want to take a route to, you know, find a champion on council, for example, that helps you get on the agenda and whatever. You didn't hear me say that. Yeah, too helpful, sorry.
All right, so
Okay.
since that's not possible tonight, we have several other neighbors that will be addressing our specific concerns.
Okay.
So I thank you for your time tonight and
Thank
your
you.
attention to this. And I would actually like, you want to speak next? Sure. And then Wyatt, I would like you to go after that.
A little bit of organization here. I like that. Thank you.
I guess the easiest thing would be to say what she said. Good evening, my name is Alfred Faber. I live on Marion Way, adjacent to the proposed campground. I also
Say it again, I'm sorry.
My name is Alfred Faber. I live on Marion Way, adjacent to the proposed campground. I also represent the interests of Mark and Pamela Faber, who own the property at 100 Altons, but could not be here today. Let me start by saying that I appreciate the time and effort that's gone into reviewing this application. My concerns tonight aren't about whether campgrounds have value. They most certainly do. My wife and I are avid campers. My concern is whether this particular proposal is appropriate for this particular location. One issue that stands out to me is the intensity of development. This property has historically been a single-family residence within an established residential neighborhood. What is now being proposed is a fundamental change in how the land will be used. Instead of one home, we're looking at 28 RV sites concentrated into a relatively small area. While those sites may not technically be homes, they still represent people, vehicles, water use, wastewater generation, traffic, noise, lighting, and overall activity. The practical effect is much more intensive use of the property than what has historically existed or what most neighboring properties experience today. Unlike a residential neighborhood where families are relatively stable, this development is designed around continual turnover. Every new arrival brings additional vehicle trips, check-ins, departures, deliveries, and daily activity. That creates a different operational pattern than a traditional residential subdivision. So I would ask the board respectfully the following questions. How does the density of a 28 RV site compare to what would typically be allowed for residential development on the same parcel? Has the board evaluated the relative impacts of this proposal compared to what the land would likely support if it were developed as permanent residential housing? Specifically, what planning principles support this level of density immediately adjacent to an existing residential neighborhood? I'd also like to raise a concern regarding the site's soils. The City of Ellsworth soil mapping identifies this area as having relatively low soil development rating. My question is simple. How has that characteristic been incorporated into the board's evaluation of a project that significantly increases the concentration of people and infrastructure on the site? Finally, I understand that there is an existing home and older structures on the property. Could the board clarify whether all of those existing structures are to be renovated or removed? I respectfully ask the board to carefully consider not only whether this project can technically be built, it most certainly can, but whether the intensity is compatible with the surrounding neighborhood and whether the long-term impacts on nearby residents have been fully evaluated. Thank you for your time.
And again, this is just a comment. In the proposal, you do mention exactly what happens to the different structures that are already there.
Can we hear that? What happens to them?
Sure. One is gonna be rehab supposedly. What about the other little ones? Do we know?
One's gonna go away, one's gonna be, two buildings will be rehabbed potentially.
The house?
Into what? One's gonna go away, which one's going away?
The chicken coop.
Oh, okay. What are you doing with the house?
That's gonna be the office and the bathrooms.
And the barn?
It's gonna be an event, a gathering place for the campers.
What will that include?
Yeah, shouldn't that be included in?
Okay, then, yeah, that material is actually.
already in the
In the application,
Okay.
so.
Can you please make that public?
I'm sorry?
It is.
Yeah, already did that.
Thank you.
Sure.
How about the oak tree out front of the house?
Okay, we're getting into really specific things, which, you know,
Matters to us. That oak tree's been there a long time.
well,
It's gonna stay.
Go ahead.
So this is for public comment period. I think it's important to allow people to come to the lectern one at a time, offer their comments. The applicant can receive that information and perhaps at the end of public comments, respond to that. But having a conversation is going to get unwieldy, especially with the number of people that we have here and upstairs.
next up. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Wyatt Braun. I'm a resident of one of the abutting properties on Alton Avenue. I have lived there for approximately 24 years, and I guess I would like to first, along with my other residents, thank you guys for hearing us out. And secondly, I guess just list my questions. They're, I guess for the sake of time, less poetic. But my primary concern is that the board may not be reviewing the current condition of the property, as there is a new 1 acre plus clearing in addition to the previous agricultural land that is available for view on Google Maps and on the application that you all have received. This new clearing is obviously wetland according to both acquired photos, which I have, and proposed maps. The clearing is also beyond the 100 feet of wetland removal as is stated in the proposal. I'm wondering why the applicant did not come to the board with this tree cutting. It is apparently in violation of the city ordinance, chapter 56806.11, wooded areas and individual trees shall be preserved when practical, and appears to be, in my opinion, in bad faith. Has the engineer reassessed the property since the clearing? I believe that there is also no DEP permits on file, at least none that I have seen. Should the applicant have obtained these prior to this new clearing? There appears to be an ongoing investigation on the property from the DEP. Must this be resolved before the application can move forward? Will the board consent to a property visit, which has already been hashed out? How will the aforementioned clearing affect the local hydrology? Will this affect the septic percolation tests done in January of 2025? I would like clarification on how the stormwater runoff and septic percolation will be managed, given the new clearing and 1.9 acres of impervious surfaces, particularly towards the back of the property, since all 4 runoff beds are at the front of the property. Ellsworth soil maps show an intermittent stream on the property. I believe that this was already mentioned, but how was this affected by this new clearing? How will invasive species transport, i.e. through firewood, as we are beginning to have problems on Mount Desert Island with emerald ash borer, be managed? How will nuisance animals brought by waste from campers be prevented? Have there been any surveys done to measure wildlife impacts? Continuous woodlands are very important to our main wildlife, and I guess wanton removal of them could cause wildlife issues. And I do not believe that residents were made aware of the campground until February of 2026, which led many to believe that a lot of the pre-development was logging, and did not believe they had any ability to contest. So that's my piece. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, there must be someone out there.
Oh, yes, sorry. It's my first time doing something like this.
I would just like to comment on Wyatt's comment. Did you hear what he say, that there's a current DEP investigation? I would kind of like an answer to that now.
I'm sorry.
No, we're not gonna get into that. The comments are made, but the board is not gonna
We
respond to
can't-
that. The staff's not gonna respond to that, okay?
But are you aware?
Well, I think that he just answered the question that that we're really not gonna answer those, that kind of back and forth.
Can't answer the questions.
We can't answer the
We
question.
can't answer the questions.
Next up, please. Go.
Hello. My name is Amy Faber, and I live on Marion Way, just off of Alton Avenue. So my concerns are focused on the groundwater availability, impacts to our neighboring wells, the wastewater disposal, and I would like to understand whether the capacity of this campground has been adequately evaluated for 28 sites. So last summer, obviously, many residents in this area experienced drought conditions and concerns about our groundwater. I would like to understand what analysis has been performed to demonstrate that the campground's water demand will not adversely affect neighboring residential wells during future drought conditions. So my questions are, has a hydrogeologic study, pump test, or groundwater analysis been performed? If so, who performed the study and what were the conclusions to the neighboring residential wells? Has the applicant demonstrated that the campground's projected groundwater withdrawal will not adversely affect our wells during future droughts? What is the projected peak daily water demand during the busy season? Given recent drought conditions, what evidence has been provided that the aquifer can support both existing residential wells and a new commercial campground in the area? If neighboring wells experience reduced yield after the campground begins operation, what protections or remedies are available to the homeowners? Also, questions around wastewater and the septic system. What is the projected wastewater flow generated by this 28-site campground? There seems to be a discrepancy where the study says it can handle 990 gallons per day, but the design was showing a generation of 1,950 gallons per day. What is the condition of the existing septic on the property? Will the existing septic handle the office and the bathhouse? Or will a new design be needed for the hookups? What soil testing was performed to determine whether the site can safely support the level of wastewater disposal? Has the proximity of the septic field to our wells been assessed? What is the vertical separation between the proposed septic in the area and the groundwater? Also, will the dump station be open to public use, meaning if you're not staying there, that you can come and dump your waste from your RV? And also, has the proximity to the bay and the wetlands be assessed? Lastly, no one has mentioned this yet, but I just wanted to make a point about the traffic. I understand that the Maine DOT has approved on the road. However, if you've driven on the Bayside Road, and I realized it was paved 3 years ago, it's a crumbling road. These are very big fifth wheel RV sites. It doesn't just accommodate cars, it also accommodates pedestrians, as I am one of those pedestrians. I would please ask you to consider the traffic impact, not only for cars, but for pedestrians on the road. I know I'm not the only person that is a pedestrian also on that road. And in closing, just as a resident of Ellsworth, just one final request, please. Put yourselves in our shoes. This is a very quiet area of town. And we live in a neighborhood. This is a very nice neighborhood. And we do not want the area changed like this. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Deborah Ireland. I live in Elton's Avenue. I've lived there for 10 years. I'm worried about the property values on the surrounding neighborhoods. There was somebody who put a bid in a house on the end of Elton Avenue for over $400,000. The minute they heard about this new RV park, they withdrew their bid. And I'm just worried that in the future, you might have to go and reevaluate all our properties because the property values will go down. And then another thing, I'm really worried about the noise coming from that park. I think there should be a noise barrier put between Alton Avenue and the park all the way up the road, just to keep down the noise. I think that would be good. Maybe something like they put on highways, because there's gonna be a lot of work from that construction and building things up there. And then are we gonna be able to have generators? Will those people have generators up there?
They could, right? If they had a generator on them.
Yeah, that's gonna be very noisy. So I think they really should have a sound barrier all the way up Alton Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kim Smallage. I live at 31 Altons Avenue at the bottom of the hill. I've lived there for 27 years. And I also appreciate the opportunity to be able to address the planning board tonight. I'd like to ask you to consider this proposal not from the perspective of someone staying at the campground for a weekend, but from the perspective of the families who will live beside it every day. We chose Altons Avenue because it's a quiet residential neighborhood. We enjoy peaceful evenings, dark skies, and the ability to sit outside, mostly on our porch, without the constant noise and activity that comes with a commercial recreation business. A 28-site RV park would permanently change that character. This is not simply a different type of housing. It is a tourism business with a revolving population of guests. Even well-behaved campers generate activity. Vehicles arriving throughout the day, late check-ins, people gathering around campfires, children playing, dogs barking, outdoor conversations, music, generators, smoke from fires, cigarettes, marijuana, and potentially fireworks. None of these activities are unreasonable for a campground, but they are entirely different from what homeowners reasonably expect next to a well-established residential neighborhood. The engineer's letter suggests that an elderly clientele will minimize these impacts. But is this campground legally restricted to seniors? Will it be an adult-only campground? If not, I don't believe the board should base its decision on assumptions about who might choose to stay there. Future owners could market this campground to anyone. Under Maine planning standards, my understanding is that you, as the planning board, are asked to determine whether a proposed development will create an undue adverse effect on surrounding properties and whether it is compatible with the existing character of the area. I believe those standards matter deeply in this case. So before approving this project, I respectfully ask the board to require clear answers to several important questions that, if not well thought out, could definitely have adverse effects on surrounding properties. What are the quiet hours, and how will they be enforced? How will late night arrivals be managed? Will generators be allowed? I think we just heard that answer. How many sites are intended for full season rentals? Who answers after hours complaints, and what authority will they have to address problems immediately? Lighting is another concern. Permanent fixtures can be regulated, and that's been spoken about, but campers bring their own lighting, and those lights shine directly onto neighboring properties. What restrictions will be in place? What are the utility company's requirements for power poles and lighting placement? Finally, I urge the board to require a substantial sound barrier along the entire perimeter of the campground. If this project is approved, neighboring residents deserve meaningful protection, not simply promises that everyone will be quiet. The planning board's responsibility is not only to consider the benefits of development, but also to protect the health, safety, welfare, and quality of life of the existing residents. Once the quiet character of our neighborhood is lost, it cannot be reclaimed. I respectfully ask you to ensure that the rights of the families who already live here in our well-established neighborhood carry as much weight as the interests of the developer. Thank you for your time and thoughtful consideration.
I might add, anybody that's actually speaking from a script that you've developed, let us have a copy of that. I mean, that's not a requirement, I'm just asking you if you would do that.
Especially the questions.
Yeah, right, especially the questions. Or if you want to, I mean, from my perspective, and whether I'm allowed to do this or not, I don't know. But if you want to follow up later with a list of questions or whatever that, that you want to make sure that you have the list, give us that list. develop it and give it to us, you know, next week or whenever. Sorry, go ahead.
No worries.
Hit it.
I'm Glenn Smallage, live at 31 Elton Avenue, been there 27 years. I'm mostly talking about safety and security. When my wife and I chose to live on Elton Avenue, we chose more than a house, we chose a neighborhood where we feel safe. We know our neighbors, we recognize the cars that belong here. If something seems out of place, we notice it. That sense of security isn't something we take for granted. It is, and it's something we're afraid of losing. This proposal would place a 28-site commercial RV park directly in our backyard, bringing a constant flow of new visitors into a neighborhood that has always been residential. I'm not suggesting that people who camp are bad people, most are not, but when dozens of strangers are coming and going every week, clear management and accountability become absolutely essential. Right now, those answers simply aren't in the proposal. Will there be someone on site 24 hours a day if problems occur? If campers are allowed late at night, ignore campground rules, wander into neighboring properties, or allow pets to roam, who responds? Do we have someone to call who can act immediately, or are homeowners expected to call the police over issues that should never have reached that point? Rules written on paper don't protect neighborhoods. Rules only matter when they are communicated, enforced, and backed by meaningful consequences. What happens when renters repeatedly violate campground rules or disturb nearby residents? Who is responsible for protecting our privacy and our peace? I'm equally concerned about the off-season. Will every RV be removed from the campground when the campground closes? If not, who will prevent vacant RVs or facilities from becoming targets for trespassing, vandalism, or unauthorized occupation? These are questions that deserve answers before, not after, this project is approved. Once this campground is built, our neighborhood will be permanently changed. If the management plan is inadequate, we can't simply move the campground farther away. We will be the ones living with the consequences. I respectfully ask you not to approve this project until there is a clear, enforceable plan for on-site management, security, rule enforcement, and year-round accountability. The people who already live in our neighborhood deserve the same level of protection and consideration as those who will be staying for a weekend or a little bit longer. Thank you for your time.
Sure. Next up?
I don't see anybody running, so I will. Most of my questions about the rec center.
Sorry, can you say your name and where you live,
Oh,
please?
sorry, I'm Linda Grindle. I've been on Bayside Road for over 40 years. I'm not adjacent to the project, but it will affect a little more traffic to add to the traffic from that comes up from Bar Harbor. They did have the question of, at night, are people going to be able to, what's going to be done about, I'm trying to sleep, we got to go to work, 2 in the morning, they're having a lovely party. Is there going to be anything done about that? Or is that preventable, or can they all get together and do that? You said the barn is going to be a rec area. Is there going to, I didn't look at it and I apologize. Is there going to be a playground, like swing sets or anything on the site?
I think,
I think on the plan there actually shows some sort of area like that.
I can envision the people on Elton Avenue looking out in the afternoon, oh, I got 2 more kids than I had when I got up this morning. I wonder where they came from. And that's a liability of insurance. And one other question that doesn't have anything to do with recreation or access. You keep asking for things and not everything has been presented. It will be presented again. I understand that the next time you meet, it will be finalizing it.
That's true.
How can
Well,
you-
the next meeting at which there's a vote would be finalizing, yes.
How can you do that without presenting all the information you need before that?
Okay, that's why we're doing this. You know, is to
This,
get the
but
information.
everything isn't here. You're doing this, but we keep asking for things, and they're
Right.
gonna be presented next time? I don't understand the process.
There will be some responses to questions that are out there, either by us as a planning board, or the staff, or the developer, so.
He can still present stuff at a later date for a final approval for one more
Sure,
meeting?
they come back with a proposal with a revised, set of documents and plans and so forth, and that's when and write-up, and that's when, that presentation is made, there's an opportunity for public hearing.
Oh,
and
there
then there's a
will be.
vote. Yep.
The public can speak to that once
Every,
that stuff is presented?
every action that we take as a planning board, in essence, has a public hearing attached to it,
Okay.
in terms of approval of development, in general.
Thank you for your time.
Sure.
Good evening, board and all the neighbors. Thank you for giving us a chance to bring our concern here. And my name is Siring Lama. I'm not sure. So, my name is Siring Lama, and I live in 26 Alton Avenue. My property will be directly affected by this proposed RV campground. I would like to speak about buffering and visual impact, as you have spoke. In the past, this area had many trees and natural screening. Those trees helped protect our privacy, quiet neighborhood, and natural surroundings. Over the past year, many of those trees were removed. Without proper buffering, we will see directly into the RV campground. The RV lights and daily activity will be visible from our homes. So this is a major change for our neighborhood. It changes a quiet residential area into something that feels more commercial. The city's comprehensive plan says that Ellsworth should protect rural character and natural surroundings. What we see now does not match that goal. I would like to ask few questions. Why was so much land cleared, and did it follow the tree ordinances? What will the front of the campground look like? Right now, the clear area looks commercial and does not fit the neighborhood. Will new trees be planted to create a strong natural buffer between the campground and nearby homes? From my house to the RV campground, it is like just naked. Right now, a little bit of green stuff like that, but during the winter, you can see everything like naked. So it's like that, and we respectfully ask the board to require a strong buffering to protect our neighborhood and restore the natural character of the area. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Casey Stofflet, and my husband, who you'll just be hearing from in a couple minutes, my 1-year-old son, and I are residents of Seavies Road. And I also want to thank you guys for hearing our concerns tonight. My background is in emergency preparedness, quality, and safety, so I tend to evaluate projects through the lens of risk management. My goal isn't to oppose development. My goal is to ensure that the risks associated with a project of this size and future expansion have been fully evaluated and that appropriate mitigation strategies are in place before construction begins. The scale of 28 RVs with many acres of expansion opportunities bring unique public safety considerations that deserve careful review. First, this area does not have municipal water infrastructure, and wildfires are no longer a risk just associated with the western United States. In recent years, New England has seen hundreds of brush fires and several significant wildfires that required evacuations. Here in Maine, we have also experienced hundreds of wildfires each year, and our own history reminds us of the devastating 1947 fire that destroyed over 2,000 acres of Mount Desert Island. A lot of campers use propane tanks, which increase fire risk. Given that history, if a significant RV fire or wildfire were to occur, what permanent fire suppression resources, such as dedicated cisterns, fire ponds, or dry hydrants, will be installed to protect not only the campground occupants, but also our homes and surrounding forests? Along these same lines, how will campfires be actively monitored and enforced to reduce the risk of wildfire spreading into the adjacent wooded areas? Second, Severe weather planning is critical. Recreational vehicles offer very little protection during high wind events, microbursts, and tornadoes, which are increasing. Is there a permanent engineered storm shelter capable of safely protecting maximum number of occupants the campground could hold? And if not, what is the coordinated emergency plan with the town to ensure that local shelters are not overwhelmed during a large-scale evacuation? I also have concerns about environmental resilience. Removing more than 50 acres of forest changes how water moves across the landscape. Has an engineered stormwater analysis demonstrated that neighboring properties will not experience increased flooding? Similarly, has a hydrogeologic study confirmed that commercial wells serving the campground will not negatively impact nearby residential wells during peak summer demand? Finally, emergency preparedness extends beyond just natural disasters. What enforceable security measures will be required during both the operational season and the off-season to prevent a largely vacant commercial property from being a location for trespassing, illegal dumping, or other safety concerns? These questions are not intended to delay progress. They are intended to ensure that emergency planning, public safety, and community resilience are incorporated into the project from the beginning, rather than addressed after a preventable incident occurs. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Good evening. My name is Brody Stofflet. I've been volunteered by my wife to speak next. I came here to speak on precedents, but I think that's been covered pretty extensively. So I'm going to speak on behalf of one of our Alton neighbors who couldn't make it here tonight. I'll be sure that he gets any questions to you guys through email. His main points were surrounding traffic and road safety. We all know the state of Bayside Road between Beachland and State Street isn't the best condition. And we expect that, according to him, he's a contractor, there should be estimates of about 6 to 10 trips per hour to help develop this, as well as getting RVs to and from the campsite. So he wanted to ask questions regarding, are there RV size limits? How will they be enforced? Is Bayside even suitable for RV traffic at this point? Considering there's no shoulders, and we do have a considerable number of pedestrians walking alongside it and walking their dogs, etc. Again, he wanted to talk about how will illegal traffic turning onto Alton and Seavies Road be stopped. I think we had a weight limit on the road up until about this year. And we have a considerable number of children and kids present on Alton and Seavies Road. And then additionally, he wanted to ask if campground amenities are also available to public use, and if that will potentially increase traffic beyond just the campsite renters. And beyond that, I think plenty of questions have been asked, so I'll just make a statement. We came here a few years ago. I got stationed up at the Coast Guard station in Southwest Harbor, and this neighborhood has welcomed us with open arms. It's a neighborhood quite unlike many that I've ever been around, and according to my coworkers, it's unlike many in the Ellsworth neighborhood or Ellsworth area. We have annual cookouts, and we always greet each other going up and down Alton CVs. I think the majority of us here just want to make sure we preserve that. And with that,
Thank you. Are there more? Is there anything new?
Nobody else?
Good evening. Thank you for allowing us to all speak to you and speak about our concerns. My name is Sharon Grindle. I live at 533 Bayside Road. And my concern, along with everything that has been spoken about, which I won't reiterate, from traffic to security and on, is asking all of you, with all the concerns and all possibly the improper removing of the foliage and the trees and the leveling of the area, in terms of the topography, along with the other questions. Is it possible to delay the decision at the next meeting to approve or not approve this? Because there's so much information that hasn't been given to us, that has been spoken about this evening, that to get that information takes time and investigations. And considering there is an investigation going on right now as well, wouldn't it be prudent to gather all that information first before a decision is made at the next meeting and disseminate that information to all of us in the neighborhood that this will so drastically and forever affect? As everyone said, you can never go backwards. This is our community, our homes, our quiet, lovely, beautiful Bayside Road and beyond. I hope that you develop something, but just not here. It is not the place for it. I respectfully ask that you would please consider holding off your decision until all this information can be gathered, and as I said, disseminated, and then we can gather again at a later date after everybody gets the appropriate information that's being asked for. And I please ask that you would again consider imperatively a site visit to see what we're talking about and how it's so could be devastating and to our lives. I thank you again, and I hope you consider that, delaying that decision until all this information is gathered. And I truly do hope you find a wonderful place for campgrounds. It's wonderful camping, it's just not in our backyard because we are a residential area. So best of luck, and please consider everything we've all spoken.
Yeah, it's really up to the developer in terms of when they come back and so forth. Did you want to say something? Say something.
Okay, well, it's, if a developer's preliminary application is found complete, they have 6 months to return for a final. Those are our rules, or that's the process.
And they can come back the next month or 2 months later or whatever.
Anytime within that.
But it's up to them.
Right. Well,
As a
again,
developer.
we didn't find out any information until February. That was the beginning. Well,
Yeah,
we
I don't know what
we
to
have
tell you about
attorneys
that.
too that we have retained, and we don't want it to get to that,
Mhm.
but we are protecting our homes.
Sure.
And our property values, which will plummet. You know, these are all very important planning board considerations for our town. They really are. So I think that it deserves more than just only a 6-month window, especially when there's so many questions that have not been answered.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And my name's Lisa LaRue, and I have family that lives on Alton Ave adjacent. So I'm just gonna hit a couple of minor things just to solidify a couple of little things. One of the concerns about traffic that wasn't mentioned is that most people, when they drive in an area they're unfamiliar with, when they're in an RV on vacation, they're gonna drive probably past it the first time, and their first instinct by their GPS will probably be to turn around on Alton Ave. That could be a great concern for the residents there, having a large number of vehicles or any vehicles coming up that road with the children play. There's lots of children, school bus stops and whatnot, animals, people walking their dogs. The other concern is if they miss Alton Ave and they continue onward, where are they gonna turn around next? The next major roads there aren't any until you get down to Goose Cove, which has been recently reallocated as a residential zone, and they got GPS to take them off the map because they were getting inundated with cars and accidents. So failure to hit that in a residential area, you're looking at houses, and boom, you miss that driveway. Now what do you do with a 42-foot RV? And when you mentioned about the 42-foot RV, one of my questions was, in the DOT application, there was no size limit listed as to the length of an RV, and he might be able to drive a 42-foot RV well on that site. But was there a limit set on the DOT plan And did it include tandem, Jeeps, trailers? What is the actual length of a vehicle that can safely turn at that driveway entrance without blocking traffic and causing a hazard? And I would like to know if the DOT has a limit or not. There wasn't one mentioned. Because not everybody is a great RV driver, which we've seen. There is listed a dumpster for patrons on the site plan, and if that's going to be managed by a waste management company. Normally, they come at early hours of the morning, and maybe we need to know the hours that the dumpsters are going to be emptied on a constant basis because they make a lot of beeping sounds. So the neighbors might need to know that, and the board needs to know that. What kind of noise impacts are going to happen at what times? In addition, RVs, a lot of times the larger ones are now equipped with the beeping sound. So not only do they have the people pulling in and the dogs barking and the yelling and the screaming of, you didn't put it in the right place, turn it around, all that stuff, they're also going to have the beeping of the larger RVs at night, in the morning, disturbing the peace. Our ordinance requires an 806.12 for campgrounds, a 25-foot natural buffer, and a 16-foot vegetated buffer between campsites. So it talks about an 806.12, that's where it's at. I don't see that has been clarified on the plan that they've met that condition, but since most of the property was cleared, is that natural buffer still available? Will it be replaced? Will it be repaired? And 16-foot vegetation between campsites. Again, the campsites are getting more protection than the homeowners that already live there. It was a curiosity with the sewage, said that there was going to be, I think the water was going to be 2,200 gallons per day. And that was for the 28 units, and I assume the office. There's a bathhouse with toilets. I don't know if there's showers or laundry. I didn't find anything on the plan that showed if there was showers or laundry. If there is, then that's increased water and sewer capacity. And also if there isn't, then that's more trips on the DOT numbers, because those people now have to leave to get their laundry done or to go somewhere to get a shower if their RV is not capable of doing that. There is, again, the public, it says on the plan that there's going to be a public dump area. So if people are coming in that are not staying at the campground and they want to utilize the convenience of having a place where they might obtain water, I don't know if water is going to be obtained to the public. And then dumping area where they can clean their RV systems and clean them out. Those are increased capacities on the water outflow and the sewage intake. And that's more traffic. So each of those little things being not questions we don't have the answers to, it impacts the actual plan. Are there any ADA compliant sites on the plan so that anybody with handicap can access via sidewalk? I didn't see any permanent sidewalks or any, so I don't know if there's any ADA compliance for camping sites, access to the office. There was an area, I believe, that was marked as playground or recreation area, and our ordinance does require that there is a recreation area, and it should be defined as to what that is. Is it swing sets? Is it dirt? Will there be signs for walking trails on the property? Will they limit their ability to walk into the neighbors' properties and peer into their homes and their privacy? Let's see. Yeah, 806.9 requires a dedicated recreational area. What is it? They deserve to know. Let's see. There should be signs or a physical barrier placed to protect all the private properties. And let's see, I want to ask specific to, I'm going to just put it in, you don't have to answer, I'm just asking. Page 7 of the narrative that they provided says the existing septic system was inspected by a licensed soil scientist to accommodate 2 sites, the office building and the bathhouse. There was a letter from Watershed, page 19, on January 2025, showing they did test pits. And there would be a design flow of less than 990 gallons per minute. So it's talking about the existing septic system, that there is capacity available. However, before I go on and on, you were intending to utilize the existing septic system, from what I gather from the document? Before I ask all these questions, okay, so I'm gonna presume that that's the case. The original septic system was designed in 1985 for a 3-bedroom residence. It indicates there are 3 rows of 4-inch PVC pipe perforated that was installed with the existing 1,000-gallon tank from a previous system. The document says the groundwater table was 20 feet, and that was the limitation of their design flow for 270 gallons per day. So that was the old in 1985. Now we have new design for bathrooms, possibly showers, possibly laundry, 2 RV sites, and an office. The notes on page 3 said the original application said the septic system must be checked for pumping every 3 years. So we don't know if the original septic system from 1985 was properly maintained and pumped it on a continual basis. If the septic bed and tank were not adequately maintained from 1985 forward, that's 45 years. What is the actual condition of the system, and what is the life expectancy? Life expectancy of a septic system is 20 to 40 years. We're at 45. Has the system ever been abandoned for any long periods of time? From what we gather, yes, because the property was vacant for quite a period of time. When septic systems go abandoned, they tend to dry out and not function as properly. So now we have an old system that was designed for a 3-bedroom home being reutilized, may not have been properly maintained, may be in poor condition because it was abandoned. So now they may potentially run into a problem, but we need to know before the application moves forward. There should be an actual, not just a pit test, but an actual examination of the existing septic bed and septic tank to make sure they're adequate. Because if not, there could be flowage that comes from that system if it fails, which by Kaiser's plan flows directly into the culverts on Bayside, which then flow directly into the Union River. That would be very bad. So I think a thorough examination of the existing septic bed and septic tank and system should be undertaken to ensure that it's compliant. In addition, if it's not compliant, then the owner is faced with redesign of a new system, tearing out the old and putting in another system, which could be a substantial cost and time delay, and better to find out now than after you're started. Thank you.
Else? Okay, no other,
Let me
oh,
confirm.
check.
Let me confirm with Andrew.
Okay,
Mr. Chair, did you want to check online as well?
yeah, I think that's what he's doing, I think, aren't you?
I'm checking with Andrew for upstairs.
Okay, how about, there was a, and she's checking for, we're trying to cover that, thank you.
As soon as he's-
Somehow I just assumed that might happen, but you know what they say about assumptions.
We're all set upstairs. Everyone's spoken that wants.
And you're okay online?
No response.
Okay, so that's the end of the public hearing. So you guys have any other comments or anything, or any other questions from the assembled board? Apparently not, okay. So we need to, we'll talk about a site visit, but we need to have a motion, one way or the other, on this, and take some
Are we doing the
action.
determination of completeness is the next?
Yeah, and again, completeness is described in very kind of general terms. I mean, it's like, is this all complete? But rather, have they addressed all the issues and concerns one way or the other? Now, that may be something that requires more work. You know, so I'll use my example of traffic engineering stuff, right? You know, they've addressed it, and I think that it needs to be improved, but it's still
Still
relative,
considered
it's still
complete because-
complete, right,
okay.
exactly. So, and completeness at this level, does not say that this whole thing is a go,
Right.
all right? And that comes at the end of the next meeting.
So
or
do we
whatever
move that we schedule a site visit for this?
Well, that's a separate thing.
Okay.
A separate issue.
So we can have a,
So the idea of completeness is based upon the ordinance itself.
yeah, have they addressed, have they started to address
The
or address?
items that need to be addressed in the ordinance for a preliminary hearing only. Am I correct?
Right, right.
Yes.
Okay. So regardless, and this would not be the items that were discussed or brought up during the public hearing. Is that correct?
Not necessarily, right?
Not necessarily.
Correct.
Correct? So basically, the idea of completeness is for, as we look at the ordinance and the checklist that we have, based upon the items that they have supplied us in the plan that they have actually submitted. That's what we're looking at right now, is for the completeness.
Yes.
Only. Regardless of whether the project is unpopular or not, if it's identified in the ordinance and it's identified in the plan as that particular item, then it can be deemed complete, from what I'm assuming. And that's all we're doing, is just that, as far as completeness is concerned. There's nothing else that we're doing as far as, this is not an approval, it's just recognizing that the items that Steve has supplied us is complete to this point, and that there will be added items when it comes the next time, whether it's in a month or 6 months. Okay? That's basically what this is about.
I have a question. If there's
It's kind of out of order, but okay.
And only, and only that one. We can't open it back up.
Right, we're not gonna open this right
Can't
back
open it
up,
back
so,
up.
Yeah.
so
just
say
one-
quick.
Just one question. With the ongoing DEP investigation, does that override any determination of completeness? Because that's essentially not complete.
Well,
We don't have any information.
we don't have enough information to even
We
decide
don't, we
that.
have no information on an ongoing DEP investigation, none.
All we know is that for their project, they're pursuing a MDEP stormwater law permit, and are making progress towards that.
So,
And that has to be done by, that particular part has to be done by whenever we do a final evaluation.
The DEP investigation is public record, so.
and
It
that-
wasn't in my packet,
yeah, it
and I'm
was-
not gonna
It
do
is
that
on
kind of
public
research
record.
on it,
So-
so.
Well, this is a thing that we will turn over to staff to
Great.
flush out, so
Thank you.
get flushing,
Time and place.
okay? Well, I mean, I understand your point, and I understand that that could be a killer regardless, so, but we'll find out. Other comments?
Did we lose Vince?
Yes, we lost Vince.
Oh, we did? Oh,
Yeah, so
Okay.
this is it, kids. I need a motion. One way or the other. And there's a proposed
there-
motion,
Let me get the
Here.
cheater sheet out.
that's the thing that. Show that to him.
Yeah, please do.
Doesn't read his packet.
Let's see, I move to accept the major use site development entitled Anchor Inn located at 566 Bayside Road as complete.
Second,
second.
discussion.
We know there's things that they're going to address,
There's a
a
laundry
lot
list.
to address.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
But for preliminary,
So,
And there are other questions that we will be asking.
Right.
And looking into that have been supplied by the public.
indeed, indeed.
For a preliminary request, they have everything they'd have to have.
At this point.
At this point.
Yeah, so incomplete would be, they didn't address traffic at all, ever. And it was a really major issue.
right. Okay.
But they have addressed it, maybe not enough, but, okay? So, other discussion? we need to show of hands.
Or do we get a second?
We did get a second.
Oh, you seconded, okay.
I think it's second.
Yes?
All opposed, or in favor, rather, sorry, all in favor?
Okay.
And again, this is not the final thing, this is just a procedural thing, and we just move on. Any comments?
No.
We're okay?
Yes.
Okay. The other thing is that we need to well, do we want to schedule a site visit? I mean, that's our decision, right? I mean, I get that they want one, right?
I'd like to see it. I've only seen it as I've been traveling home, using that as my commuter route.
I would make a motion that we schedule a site.
I don't think it needs a motion, but
It doesn't need a motion?
I don't think it needs a motion.
We need to vote on it.
Well, really?
Yes,
I
we
believe
do.
so.
Oh, yes.
Please
Yes.
correct me.
You should go.
Okay, we need a motion.
I make a motion that we schedule a site visit.
I second.
Okay. And do we have further discussion on that?
Just pick a date.
Okay, so the question is, do we want to try to set that up now, or do we want to set it up by email? And my guess is that because we have some
Got
people
3
missing and so
two people
forth.
missing.
It has to be announced, it has to be posted.
And we have to do it quickly, right, because,
So,
go-
Yes, so for the site visit, it follows the same noticing procedures as any public hearing, planning board meeting. So the earliest, I did the math ahead of time, the earliest we can have a site visit, if we get the notice in this week to the paper, would be July 20th. So we're looking at between July 20th and August 1st for a site visit.
and if we don't make this deadline, it goes a week?
It goes a week, yeah.
So we would have to move very quickly, because this is Wednesday, and you need to have it this week.
Thursday because of the holiday, I believe, the deadline is.
I mean, third,
So, yeah, we need to decide
Tonight.
tonight or tomorrow
Okay.
or early morning.
I'm out of pocket 22nd through 24th, so other than that, I'm free.
yeah, I have no clue about John and who I suspect
We
will
have to
be
vote
back.
if we're gonna have it or not, right? Before we say.
Oh, true enough, yeah. No, I think,
We're coming up with a date, so,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so we need to vote on whether we're gonna have it, yes?
Yes.
Okay,
absolutely.
so we're gonna have it. And what's the best way to set it up then?
Leave that up to.
So I can send out an email to confirm date and time, and we can have a couple options if you want to discuss.
Why don't you, yeah, why don't we see if we can come up with a couple of options, and then you can make a specific proposal.
Yeah.
So what was the first one?
So Monday, July 20th would be the first available date.
I'm good.
What time for that?
You guys good with the 20th?
Preferably before.
Not during work hours? Those are not billable hours for me.
So when would you be having this?
Anytime after 5 o'clock. You got plenty of daylight.
Yeah, and typically we've had them at late afternoon,
Yeah,
early evening.
that's fine.
Plus, that will give the public a chance,
Yeah.
because you have to
Sure, right,
notify the
they-
abutters, correct? So
Right.
all the abutters will be notified of the site.
Yes, if they get an abutters letter for this meeting, they will get an abutters letter for the
Okay.
site visit.
Absolutely.
And this is not a visit where a whole bunch of presentations are made or whatever like this.
No,
Okay.
it's strictly for the planning board to look at the site, and, you know, public are allowed to come, but there's no public hearing, there's no, you know, anything extra.
There may be discussions though, I mean, or.
The planning
you know,
board can
sidebars and
discuss,
that
yeah,
sort of thing, right.
but.
And you guys would, but you guys have to be there though.
Rick, you have a question?
There's 3 or 4 buildings that are very dangerous. I don't want the public or you folks in them.
We can stay on it.
There's a great
I'd be more than
liability.
willing not to go inside them.
That's fine.
But we gotta keep the public out as well. You know, they're very dangerous.
Okay.
That's fine.
Can you flag them? Just throw some tape around them.
And, yeah, so does the 20th work for you guys as an option?
Yes.
So I amend my motion to be a site visit for July 20th. How's that?
We already voted on the other one.
That's right, I'll amend it anyway.
So, do we need to have another option as well?
Yes, because I believe that tonight is also a council meeting, so there might be some conflict.
Oh.
We're not on the council.
Who cares about the council?
Yeah, I don't know, I mean, do we need to worry about that? I don't think we need to.
I don't think so.
Don't need to worry about it, we're gonna get voted out anyway.
There is that.
I do believe that is the council night, same.
It is a council night.
So there'll be some conflict of
Tuesday is also okay.
Right.
What's that?
Public conflict. Correct.
Public
'Cause the-
wants to go to that one
the
too?
people who wanna be-
They're just
Oh,
busy,
okay.
you're
All right.
busy.
All right. Okay.
Okay,
I
so-
understand. That's good.
21st.
Also, weather is a factor too.
So let's do let's do a Tuesday, the
All right,
21st,
so
and then
we're
maybe
gonna
something
take the
next week as a backup in case of.
I can't do the 21st.
Okay.
Well, wait. I have a board meeting at 3 o'clock, so I could do 5.
Yeah.
We do 5.
21st?
Yeah, that's an option. So 21st is an option. You guys good with the 21st?
Yes.
Okay, so 21st is an option. Any other days that week?
No, not for me.
None?
I'm out.
Okay. How about the week of the 27th?
Fully open after 5.
Okay, I can do the 27th, 29th, 30th, 30th. I can't do the 28th.
27.
27.
27? You taking notes there, kiddo?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay. So that's 3 different dates. Good enough?
2 different dates.
21 and
We got 21st and 27th.
21st and 27th.
Oh, right, because we got rid of the first. Okay?
You said at 5 PM, or do you want to stick to 5:30? Like,
We could do 5:30.
We apparently want to do 5:30.
just to be consistent with our.
That works.
And if
Yeah, I
people
think
work
we
till
have to assume
5.
that some of us can make it.
Yeah, I think public can be 5:30.
Okay,
Mr. Chair, if I could, just address the ground rules for a site visit
Sure,
while
please.
everyone is gathered. First, the ground rules for the planning board. And I'll plan to be there, or somebody from my office will be there to help make sure everybody stays on side. With site visits, and I've been on a number of them, there's a tendency to want to have a lot of discussion. But really, you don't want to have much discussion at all. It's really there to understand the lay of the land. So you will have clarifying questions. What am I looking at? What does that depict, and so forth. The ordinance anticipates that the applicant will do some flagging, so you see where the roads and so forth are, and that will help you understand.
Property corners will be
the-
marked.
Exactly.
Okay.
And Steve has been doing this a long time, and I think he would know how to make it so that you are looking at the right things. Don't do any deliberating, and I know you know that. In terms of, it is a public meeting in the sense that people can attend, but it isn't a public hearing or a public comment time. People may have questions, but I'd ask them to hold those questions and either submit them to the staff separately, submit them to the board separately, or come to a future public hearing to express those concerns. But it's not a time to get into a back and forth or Q&A. And that way you can get in, understand the lay of the land, and then come back and do the rest of your job here in this building.
all clear? Okay.
Cannot approach us.
So we will have this defined hopefully tomorrow, and we'll start putting that information out. And it'll be a public statement in the paper or whatever,
It'll be
just like there is for
published.
this.
Yep, published twice in the paper and posted on the city website and posted in the lobby downstairs, as well as the abutters letters.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you for your attention, thank you for coming, thank you for your comments. And like I said before, if you feel the need to send us, when I say us, I mean Brittany actually, send us some comments or whatever, or a script if you spoke from one or whatever, that kind of clarification would be good. Thank you so much. And we move on.
I got a lot of them up here, but by the end of the week.
Do we get a 503?
Did we vote? Did we vote on that? Okay. I don't remember. There's so many things going on, I can't remember. You're over there. Oh, no, there's so many things going on, I can't remember.
Okay, you want a bio break?
Not for me, but
I'm all set.
you guys
I wanna
good.
go
have 5 minutes.
Where you
What's that?
going?
He wants a 5-minute.
Do a bio break? Okay.
Jason, we're gonna take a 5-minute break.
So it's 5.
Let's go.
Oh, we're turned on.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Okay, so we are back to item number 4, which is the final plan review of a major use site development plan entitled PEO Halloran Inc. for applicant and owner PEO Halloran Inc. Is there somebody here? Are you here? Is that what you're doing over there?
He's here, he's been here.
Is he muted?
You're muted.
You're muted.
No.
Or our volume's not on. Tech support.
Yeah, I think he's a camp.
He's flashing like he's not muted.
I'm trying to find
No,
the button.
can't hear you.
Okay, he's unmuted on our end.
It's not.
I can't hear him. I got ringing in my ears.
There's nothing.
Oh, we have the first team here tonight,
Oh, good.
or maybe the second team,
Is this the
depending
A
on
team?
your perspective,
Is this
right?
the A team?
Or the B team.
If it works, he's the A.
He's not talking, he should say something.
Move your lips.
Yeah, he's up to camp.
If he turns off his video, that might clear up his bandwidth. Would you turn off your, there you go.
Thank you.
Still bleeping.
So I can call him, he can be on the phone. I got his phone number.
Let's try that. We're gonna call you on the phone.
Let him go back, see what happens.
He sat through that whole thing just to be muted.
Yeah, right, forever.
Permanently.
You want me to try calling him?
Can't hurt.
Hi.
Hey, so I got you on speakerphone.
Okay, I will turn off Teams then.
Okay?
Okay?
Okay.
Because I'm getting an echo from you. Okay. So we are requesting final approval tonight. We made some minor revisions and provided some additional or supplemental information for the board. We, and I will try to go in an order. The entrance, as we discussed last month, is permitted for a 40-foot width. And we have 30 feet in the throat right now. And I did review it with the owner, and we intend to maintain the 30-foot width for now. So no change to that existing entrance that's there that the owner is using as the entrance.
A question right there, though. Is MDOT's 40-foot, is that a requirement or a suggestion? Because if
It's
it's
a suggestion.
Ah, okay. Because the way it was read, it sounded like a requirement to me. I mean, I'm not sure that I care, but, you know, if MDOT said one thing, you need to do that thing.
Right, right. No, it was, we could have a maximum of that.
So, and you're sure that that's what MDOT meant?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
So I did revise the trip generation report, and we did take counts from the existing facility on a Wednesday and a Saturday. And then for this site, I extrapolated them, if you will, and doubled them, and utilized those trip numbers for the proposed facility.
Okay, and that's fine, and I don't have disagreement, but for future reference, you were, somewhere along the line, you cited using the 6th edition of the trip
Right.
generation stuff, and we're now up to 11.
Yeah, at $1,400 a year.
Yeah, well, no, I hear you, that's why I don't have my own personal copy. But the point is, though, that somewhere along the line, they eliminated all projects on which the models were based that were done before 1990. So a lot of the models and so forth have been updated. So for the future, you need to beg, borrow, or steal a newer edition, because starting out with a 25-year-old one isn't gonna cut it.
No, yes, I agree with you. Yes, I agree with that.
So forewarned is forearmed.
Yes, that's correct. So we did, when we were discussing the planting buffers last month, and we did remove the planted buffer on the southerly end of the project, as it's city property adjacent to it and it is wooded. And so we would not be essentially buffering anything. I did include information from U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and I did review the main DIF&W database, and I summarized that there was nothing in that vicinity that was highlighted on the DIF&W database. We did provide letters from the Natural Areas Program and Maine Historic Preservation and their comments. And I guess I will just reiterate that we had discussed that the more southerly entrance that is blocked off at the present time will be removed by December 31st, 2026, as it's called for in the plan.
Do you have more words?
I really don't.
Okay, and this is a code question. Does there need to be a porta potty or anything like that on this site at all, or any kind of other kind of collection device?
Not if they're not planning on having a permanent employee there, just come and go, so.
And that's what they're proposing?
Yeah, there's no permanent employee as far as I'm aware.
I thought we talked about that last time, but
Yeah.
I didn't. Okay.
We did, and the employee is just going to come and go from
Okay.
the shop.
So,
yes.
you'll just have to.
There are, as far as I know, there are bathroom facilities at their shop, so if he has to, or she, whoever. it may
Or
be.
there's forest.
Yes, there is that too.
They're not encouraged.
There's
No,
plenty
we don't encourage that, yeah, but there are trees.
There's about 10 acres wooded behind it.
Okay, so anything else? Any questions on the part of our esteemed board?
I don't have any, frankly, I don't have any questions for you.
Do they have any questions for
I think
you?
I was good last time on the waste, on the stormwater, so
Yeah,
I have nothing
right.
further.
There was no change to that, right?
No.
Okay. So they have a bunch of waivers that they're requesting, right?
Yes.
So the question that I have is, do we pass those waivers one by one and then do the overall motion? So that's the order we do it? Okay, so the first waiver has to do, so we're gonna do that.
And there was also, just to add in, there was also the signage issue, that there's a sign there now and they're not proposing anything new. Just,
Right.
correct?
I think that's correct,
That
yes.
is correct.
Correct.
Okay.
Else?
Nope.
Nope, okay. So the first one has to do with the landscaping. So if you look at page 6 of the thing that Brittany had prepared, there's all kinds of wonderful language. And we'll just do the waivers exemptions one by one.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So need to have a motion to approve the landscaping design modification. Do you see where that is?
Can we do them all in one motion?
I think we need to do one by one.
I think we need to do them
I think
individually.
it's cleaner one by one, so let's
Yeah.
do.
Nice try, though.
I'd ask Tim if he was still here.
So waiver for roadside buffer requested, that's the first one we're talking about.
This has to do with, you know, the landscaping design modification, active stormwater treatment zone.
It's in your planning board report.
Okay. Those are the- Okay.
This thing.
That one, okay.
I don't have it in front of me, so.
Ask and you shall receive.
Okay, so,
The first one, right here. To do this one?
right here?
Yep.
So I'm gonna make it a motion, okay?
Okay, good.
I move to approve the landscaping design modification request under section 813.11 for the major use site development entitled P.E. O'Halloran Incorporated at 923 Bangor Road, map 75, lot 13-1. We find that the active stormwater treatment zone provides an adequate, high-quality visual and spatial buffer that satisfies the underlying intent of section 801.5. This approval is explicitly conditioned upon the applicant adding a permanent note to the final site plan stating that the 50-foot grassed stormwater zone shall be maintained as the approved alternate roadside buffer.
Need a second?
I'll second.
Discussion, comments, issues? City, you have anything? Nope.
Right there.
All in favor? Passes unanimously. Next one.
Next one. I move to waive the technical photometric plan submission required by the major use site development plan entitled P.E. O'Halloran, 923 Bangor Road, map 75, lot 13-1, finding it unnecessary due to the project's limited scale. This waiver is conditioned upon the applicant utilizing only 2 fully shielded, downward-directed security fixtures that prevent light trespass as verified by the code enforcement officer in accordance with Article 8, Section 812.
I second that.
Discussion? All in favor? Next one.
I move to approve a design standard modification from the strict minimum foot candle requirement of Chapter 56, Article 8, Section 812.5D for the major use site development entitled P.E. O'Halloran at 923 Bangor Road, map 75, lot 13-1. We find that the strict compliance is unnecessary because the lot is used solely for an unoccupied shed and storage container displays and operates exclusively during daylight hours. This waiver is conditioned upon the applicant using only 2 downward-directed security fixtures and adding a site plan note restricting the area to daytime use.
Second? Somebody?
Second.
Okay. Comments, questions, problems? All in favor? Okay, now go back to the other one. Okay, so now we have proposed motions. One is to approve with those waivers and exemptions, or not to approve, or to table it.
I make a motion to approve.
Here she goes.
I make a motion
No, do
to
it.
approve the final plan for major use site development entitled P.E. O'Halloran Incorporated for P.E. O'Halloran with the 3 waivers that we so moved on.
Second?
I'll second.
Comments, questions, concerns, issues? All in favor? Okay, so moving right
You
along.
still with us, Andrew?
I am, yep, just sitting listening.
Okay, so you can quietly go about your business now,
All right,
because
thank
we have
you.
disposed of you in a nice way.
And you can too.
It's supposed to be in
I'll send you the bill for my cell phone.
Yeah, good.
Okay, next up, staff comments.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, bye-bye.
I have some,
Okay, hit it.
so hopefully my battery lasts. Number 1, remember to keep your anchored in packets for the final review. Any preliminary stuff, please keep until it's been approved, and then you can toss it. But I do want those binder clips back, because budget. Also,
I keep the packet, but you want my binder clip? Is keeping
after,
it
when you turn it in at the end,
all? Okay, but
I
we're
want your
hanging on to
binder.
these
Yeah,
still.
just don't
Yeah,
get too
fine.
excited,
Yes.
like it was a gift. because, you know, the city's gonna go bankrupt if you don't turn back your.
Well, I ran out of rubber bands, so you get
I
binder
prefer
clips
binder
right
clips
now.
to
I got
bind your
rubber bands if
actual
you want 'em.
folders, so.
I have a whole drawer full of rubber bands.
Well, I can use
Okay,
them.
sorry.
Anyway, I digress. Also, if you haven't yet signed the Sportsman Mobile Home final approved plans, if you
Okay.
voted yay on them. And then I have the stack here. Before you leave, please pick up your new ordinances to add to your planning board binders. And then we've been working on a planning board guidebook that we would love to get your feedback on. This is supposed to help developers kind of understand the process and guide them through a little bit. So please share your thoughts. We'd like to get feedback by July 20th so we can get this launched on the website. And then the only other announcement I have is that the Danielle Gift, our Director of Urban Planning and Urban Development, her last day is tomorrow.
What?
So she will be.
Hey, we get rid of these planners.
She's
no
leaving
longer with us.
tomorrow?
What?
She put in her 2 weeks last Monday, so her last day is tomorrow. She's going back to urban forestry in the nonprofit world. So she will still be around on the Arbor Commission and such, but she will no longer be with the city.
And you're
Very
alone
sad.
again in your office.
I'm
sorry.
starting to feel cursed. Oh.
It's nothing personal.
You're moving
Oh, yes.
offices though.
Oh, you are
And
moving.
I think we told you guys before, but the big move, we're calling it,
got something?
all of the customer service facing departments are moving downstairs and the non-customer service facing departments are moving upstairs. So planning and code will be located downstairs and the city manager, deputy manager, and finance will be moving upstairs.
And when, I'm sorry, when was that occur?
It's occurring now and probably will wrap up in the next month or two.
In the next month or two?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah, well, you're moving shortly.
I'm supposed to be moving next week.
Okay. And, go ahead.
Oh, that's it. I'm supposed to be
Okay.
moving next week, so
Okay.
we'll see if it happens.
So that, but you also are gonna keep contacting y'all for confirmation of these, of the visit dates, right?
Yes, I already sent an email,
Well, okay then,
and I will be calling if I don't hear from you
okay.
early tomorrow morning, so. Please be
Okay,
back.
so we're on track though, an early track.
Yeah,
okay.
because I think there's a holiday deadline, so I need to get it in
Okay.
sooner than later.
You saying email already went out?
Anything else?
I really enjoy this.
Me too.
Oh, there it is.
Yes.
This is great.
Oh, yeah, no, that's great, that is
Yeah.
great.
This is great.
Yeah, good. And please, if you have any feedback on that or edits, send them my way. It's a living, it's the first
I think-
stab at it, so.
I think you probably ought to have these handy every planning board meeting.
That's the
To
intention.
hand out to the public.
And we will put them on the
To the
website
public,
as well.
yeah.
And also, because they show up for TRT, I mean, you can give them out there, I mean, you just give them out a lot, because it's a good thing.
Oh, thank
So
you.
I do have a question, however, and it's, I know we're in adjourn, but,
You got till 8.
huh?
She's cutting you off at 8 o'clock.
She's got
I
expiration
suppose I
date.
can- I suppose I can ask this question. Is it a DEP investigation or just a review of what's going on?
We don't know.
Because the difference between investigation and review, those are two distinct terms.
Exactly.
And
And we
what-
know that they filed a permit, so it could just be flagged for that, but we'll have to do some more investigation.
Yeah, I mean, so did something they do trigger that thing, or?
No idea.
We don't know.
It
I mean,
wasn't in my
what else would
package.
trigger it?
No idea.
That was
favorite
the
line.
I mean, that-
Literally, no idea.
No idea. We'll
No.
look into it tomorrow morning.
And that's why we couldn't answer the question.
Exactly. And
you
know,
shouldn't.
So, yeah,
It's-
we didn't have any information on
Yeah,
that.
it's the first we've heard of it.
I mean, there's a big difference between a review and an investigation, so.
So,
Okay.
well, we'll get to the bottom of
Just
it. We'll
wanted
have
to know.
updates for you in your next packet.
Yeah.
I'm sure Steve will address it in his narrative, if nothing else.
There needs to be some, notwithstanding that we're looking at the ordinance, starting in July or whatever for
Oh,
all
yes, I
these
have an update on that.
incompatible uses and stuff like that. But there needs to be, some discussion, I think, among the planning board, somehow, kind of in an executive session or whatever, so that we can really talk about how do you deal with, these kinds of, big issues when, 30 people show up and so forth, and
Perhaps some
You know,
training too.
yeah, and you know, how do we go about responding to questions and so forth? Because a lot of the questions that they raised, including you know, are there, right? I mean, you know, several of them were just in the book, right? That may not have been done very well, but they were there.
There was a lot that was in the packet.
Yeah, exactly.
And
exactly.
unfortunately, the
And
packet
so
is
there's
not
somehow, you know, how do you deal with that? How do you
Yeah.
interact with the public when it gets contentious?
Some of
like
that's
this?
some policy decisions too, because we don't post the packet just online, they have to request it, so it's not
Yeah.
out there. We don't
Yeah.
have, you know, that's something we could consider, but.
Anyway, I don't know how we do that, but we need to be able to do it. And as I mentioned to you numerous times, the idea of having a public hearing and then 2 minutes later you take a vote, that basically dismisses
Everything they said.
everything everybody said, right, in public, so.
That's how the perception is, yeah.
Anyways,
so
that's,
We'll dig into that.
yeah. I mean, I don't know what the answer to that is, because if I had, I'd share it.
Well, I think you all did a pretty good job of explaining that, you know, the completeness vote doesn't mean that it's approved, it's just that the packet is complete as presented, it's not a yes or no, you can do the project, so.
Bulldozers aren't moving.
Correct.
And I think that when we start talking about redoing things or whatever, just the whole idea of, like, oh yeah, this is a motion that it's complete. Well, what does that mean to you? That means it's done. You know, like, you completed your assignment, you're done.
Well, you said the packet is complete is how, you know.
Yeah, but that's a
We could
nuance.
address
that is
wording
just-
and,
That can be subjective, because some of those people in the public, some of those questions they would think that those would be answered in the packet, and if they're not, that, to them, it's not complete because their questions haven't been answered. So
Right.
it's really subjective to them, you know, but we can only go by the checklist of the ordinance.
That's what we do.
And-
There's a lot
and,
that's-
You know,
yeah.
if it's checked off that it's been addressed.
It's not in our purview.
And it's hard to argue
we're done.
nuance
I mean, that's all we can do.
in this particular.
But that's why we're gonna do a lot of ordinance revisions, and we've started.
Yeah, yeah,
those,
somehow
but
to do that,
It's
right,
not
no, I
just this
agree.
topic, but a lot of our ordinances need to be reevaluated to today's standards, to the kinds of questions that we get asked over and over again, the kind of concerns we have over and over again.
so we have
It's
a
a
meeting
long
on
process.
Monday to strategize, so more to come on the ordinance phase 2.
I mean, it's not easy redoing ordinances, the process that you gotta go through to,
It's gonna be
Or
so much
cheat.
fun.
or cheat, that's correct.
We're gonna have fun. It's gonna be great.
We done?
Trust me.
I think we're done. Oh, yeah,
I move we
you
adjourn.
guys wanna adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Who's gonna second?
Discussion?
I know we get to
I